Hey guys, and welcome to a straight-up weird battle of Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. I'm not actually going to be playing today, which is a rare sight in recent days, because of course we are on Immortal Empires, like early access. There's not that many players playing right now, but we do have a fight here between the Force of Logic bringing his favourite DAWI up against Battlesay and his Vampirates, which is traditionally a really bad matchup for the Pirates, but there is no longer magic resistance for the Dwarfs. It is just spell resistance, making units like Sirens phenomenal up against them with their great armor piercing, debuffs, and all-round stickiness. We also have some depth guard leading the battle charge, so a really freaking awesome build coming in here from battle, and I like his stuff quite a bit. We have double deck gunners in the central pocket, a lone carronade, and Queen Bess, a very risky pick, like 2 dwarf cannons, and all of this dies instantly. I don't think there are any dwarf cannons today. We have some Felbats up in the skies, we have Count Knocky Boy down on the low ground, and then we have 2 Mongols. The Forces of Logic, this is like the most classical Logic build I've ever seen, so it's a load of gyrocopters in the skies. There are a mixture of brimstone guns and bombers by the looks of it. They are moving forward to engage with the deck gunners, as well as the Skyhammer here, and then we have a large like elite box right at the back of the map. You allow the gyros to do the damage, and your opponent has to then lug themselves forward to face this like horrifying horde of just battle veterans from the DAWI ranks. So they definitely want to move back a little bit here. They're in range of Queen Bess right now, and the Ironbreaker's already taken a little bit of damage, which they're certainly not going to enjoy too much. They've got their shields raised. I don't think that's going to help you out, lads. And in comes the next boom, and jeez, look at the damage, down to half HP. Big mistake there by the DAWI player, not pulling those guys out of range. Probably focusing too much on the gyrocopters here, who are attempting desperately to hunt down the deck gunners. Definitely want to be focused firing on one unit and then the next one to kind of mitigate the casualties, because it looks like the Dwarves probably getting the worst end of the trade here in the early skirmish. Despite having so many gyrocopters, they've been able to take down both the deck gunners, though this second unit is clinging to life, invocation of heck being used to keep it active. But Queen Bess is up to 47 kills on the Ironbreakers, which is very nice stuff. And now the Dwarves have peeled off and fallen back a little bit here. Going to be hiding in the corner for now. It looks like more gyrocopters have come back into the action. They're still floating around, focusing down now the carronade, it seems. And this is lovely stuff. So it looks like we are getting a bombing run up by the DAWI. This is definitely what the gyrocopters want to be doing, just trying to get that burst damage. And you can see cannons starting to explode. Felbats have been activated though. They're chasing away at some of the gyrocopters. Not a bad play whatsoever. Though the Felbats won't do much damage to them, they can force them back to the DAWI deployment. And it looks like Queen Bess has just been brutalizing dwarfs. There is still 63 Norglin and Ironbreakers, but yeah, 2,500 HP, not looking too great here. And another Queen Bess shot arcs beautifully in the red, comes down and completely misses. Want to be switching targets probably to, I would say, the Peak Gate Guard. Those magical attacks are the only thing that are going to help the Dwarfs kill the Sirens here. Vampires have decided, you know what, we're going to move forward, which is certainly something that they probably wanted to do a little bit earlier. Though I understand they want to protect Queen Bess. Once those deck gunners went down, there was nothing to protect the artillery. And it looks like the gyrocopters have won the early kind of skirmish phase, but at what cost? They've lost significant of their own forces. The gyros are incredibly beat up and weakened. I'd say the early trade's probably gone pretty well for the Vampirates if they can get their Sirens in a good position. Now, they seem to go for a frontal charge here, perhaps to absorb the blasting charges, but those blasting charges lit up the Sirens. I definitely think they wanted to be floating around to the flanks. We do get an OP Pit of Shades coming, though, on the Ironbreakers. I really hope Pit of Shades gets nerfed a little bit before release, but we'll have to see if that does happen. I've had mixed reports. Like, when I say it's OP, a lot of people in the comments are like, no, it's absolutely fine, but I don't know, from my own opinion, it's abusive. And I think the fact we've seen it in almost every single game in like the tournament this weekend, or I guess this video is coming out after them, but in the big tournament they did, I think is probably something to be taken note of. Now the Peak Gate Guard are engaging Sirens. This is the perfect fight for the Peak Gate Guards. They have magical attacks, and it looks like there's a nice little pin though. We have Mongols coming in the back looking to surround the Peak Gate Guard. They're also charmed by the sexy silhouettes, of course, of the Sirens, a DAWI favourite, but they're going to be doing absolutely fine. They're in such a sea of enemies. Look at this carnage. But so the Peak Gate Guard are going to get some massive kills like that. Looks like we have some big shots coming down at Count Noculus from the Royal DAWI Air Force. Trying to focus him down. Frog Ironbrow is running to try and save his own skin. Master Engineer as well is currently vibing and surrounded. So it looks like those Slayers doing an okay job up against the Mongols, who are getting dragged down here in the back. We are getting an invocation and a heck. Now, Mongols do have pretty decent anti-infantry, but Dragonback Slayers, they live for this. This is what they were born to do, to fight creatures like Mongols. So this is going to be a great fight for the Slayers. And though they'll lose a few, damage value-wise, that is going to be a massive boon to the forces of the DAWI. Count Noctilus is continuing to hound and harass Thoric Ironbrow, but a nice rune of slowness goes down on him, and that's going to allow the gyrocopters and bombers to really focus him down. He's been suppressed as well. His speed is a whopping 10. That's just disrespectful at this point. Mars Engineer is surrounded, but he'll be able to outlast the summon you'd expect. And over on the left-hand side here, it looks like maybe we had a few bombing runs come in. The Peak Gate Guard, 96 kills. Already killed, I believe, one unit of Mongols. They're fighting the second. They killed the Sirens. Bombing runs are coming down onto the enemy, and the Peak Gate Guard just do not give a damn. Up to over 100 kills, 1.4k value. I absolutely love to see it. Elsewhere, this is a big messy blob, and we have the Depth Guard fighting alongside the Sirens. Definitely want some of the Depth Guards to, like, wrap around and rear attack these Ironbreakers, because they're going nowhere right now. Like, the Ironbreakers will hold for 50 years. You have to flank charge them. You can't bunch up like this, because the Gyrocopters will abuse this type of formation. And it looks like the Depth Guard trying their best to get in on the action, but the Ironbreakers are holding firm. We have Dragonback Slayers going for a surround on the old boy Count Noctilus, who's currently flammable. Been set on fire here. Peak Gate Guard, 143 kills. Mwah, beautiful stuff by them. Looks like the Mongols will just be about to outlive them. We do get yet another Pit of Shades. Very well placed as well. Like, it was just behind the Ironbreakers, so they can't retreat even if they wanted to, and it's still going to do some pretty damn good value. Now, it is good to note, despite the fact they've lost their magic resistance, the Dwarfs still have spell resistance, and that is a 25%, so 25% less damage from a Pit of Shades is significant. And it seems like the Ironbreakers are rather happy for that, beating back the enemy alongside Thoric, who's buffing them. We've got some Gyrocopters as well, who can be reactivated in the distance. It looks like Brimstones are finishing off the Fellbats. Master Engineer is completely alive and active now. I'd love to see him come in. Oh no, he does. Oh my god, he didn't bring the ring? Does the Master Engineer not have the Fire Ring of Fury anymore? Because that down this line right now would be devastating stuff, though. It looks like the Ironbreakers are holding on relatively effectively. Gyrocopters doing okay in the middle. Peak Gate Guard is just about clinging on now. Only 17 of the Mad Chads left. Fighting back-to-back alongside the Slayers, though, is a glorious way to go down. Count Noctilus is trying to stab Dwarfs in the back. That's about as honourable as Count Noctilus gets. But likewise, he's not having the best of times. He does heal up, though, which is quite nice pick there, I think. He's going to be pivotal to victory at the end here, and trying to get as many summons on the battlefield as possible to drag down those Dragonbacks. It looks like over on the left-hand side, though, Depth Guard do get engaged with the Ironbreakers, but the Ironbreakers really don't care. They're doing absolutely fine here, and it looks like the Depth Guard are actually going to crumble into dust. Looks like the Brimstone guns have been focused firing them down, which is a really good pick there by the DAWI player, focusing down one of the very few units left on the battlefield, which can deal with the Ironbreakers effectively. And despite the fact they only have 1.4k HP and 38 models, you can see they're taking pretty much 0 damage, because they have 125 armor, which is ridiculous. And, yeah, the zombies can't simply drag through that. We get a cheeky flash bomb go down as well, lowering the melee defense of these troops. That's probably going to finish them off. Looks like Count Noctilus did manage to retreat and slither away to safety from the Dragonback Slayers and leave them in a rotting pile of fleshy goo, but it's not going to be a laugh. Army losses is about to kick in, particularly when these summons dissipate. You see that summon does now indeed go, leaving Count Noctilus against the world, and there is simply nothing the mad lad can do. It is a victory for the Royal DAWI Air Force. Not bad whatsoever, considering I thought the start actually went relatively poorly for the Dwarfs. Like, the Gyrocopters, they did good work. I mean, they killed the gunners, and they eventually did take down Queen Bess and the Carronade, but likewise, Norgland Ironbreakers got eviscerated. The Gyrocopters, did they, like, pay for themselves at the start? I mean, towards the end, like, yeah, 1,000 value is great, and 920 is really solid, but the other two, 300 value, 300 value. It's kind of really pitiful stuff. 1.5 in the Skyhammer, though, and I think the main problem here, the early trades were actually probably good in the Coast favor, I think. Like, it's close, but I think Coast kind of edge it. The main problem was when they attacked, they kind of didn't have a plan. Like, they just lumped forward. Mongols went round and, like, circled the enemy on the flanks, which was really nice play. They also needed to do that with, like, the depth guard and the sirens. Let the dwarfs, like, bump and grind against the rotten flesh, and then use your sirens to shank DAWI in the flanks and the Mongols and depth guard, and I think it would have gone significantly better. But, well played. It was a real back-and-forth game, yeah, with the, Counts taking the early domination, and then the dwarfs coming back a little bit here. 1.9k value on the Drownbacks is cool. 1.2 on the Ironbreakers is very impressive. 1.7 on the Peak Gate Guard. And yeah, the Norglins unfortunately got eviscerated early days. Cannon still got 940 value. Deck Gunners 900, 700, 1.3k on Queen Bess. The Depth Guard were unfortunately a little bit wet noodle, and likewise with the Sirens. Despite, the hype of them with their armor piercing and the fact dwarves can't hurt them very effectively, and the magic attacks no longer are a kind of a bad point for them up against dwarves. They did perform very well, and I still don't think they should be like a frontline troop. Even in this matchup, you have to use them as a flanker. 1.5k in Count Noctis is pretty impressive, and the Fellbats, 884 value. Very nice work. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.